Hello everyone. Today we'll see about waterfall model. As you all know that software development life cycle has the standard phases. Now we'll see how those phases will function in case of a waterfall model. You might have seen waterfall, a natural waterfall where water falls from a higher altitude to a lower one. So you might think how this waterfall is linked with this model, or why this model has been named as a waterfall. As water, when it falls from a higher altitude to lower one, it cannot travel back to the higher altitude again. The similar concept prevails in this software development model. Once you complete a phase and move to the next phase, you cannot traverse back to the phase again. That is the concept of waterfall model. So hence it resembles or replicates a waterfall. It is called as waterfall model. This model is very popular. Why? Because it is simple to use and understand. So here in waterfall model, each phase when it is completed before the next phase starts. That is the idea. Or else when a phase is completed and move to the next phase, you cannot go back to the previous phase. And here you could see a waterfall. So these are the phases. The rectangles denote the phases and the arrows denote similar to a waterfall. So you have to complete your requirement phase, only then you have to move to your design. After moving to your design, you cannot traverse back to requirement. Similarly, in other phases as well. Say for example, while doing coding, you cannot go and correct your design, or go and correct or add some components in your design. So that is the concepts behind waterfall model. So as in all models, this waterfall model also the first phase will be requirement analysis. As you cannot go back to your previous phases, in this model your phase is to be completely done before moving to your next phase. So this requirement analysis is the first phase where you collect all your requirements without missing any requirement, without having ambiguity, without having inconsistency. You have to collect and consolidate, analyze and make your requirement specification such a way that nothing is missed or there is no error in your requirements. Only after that you move on to your next phase, that is your design phase. Here your design helps in specifying your hardware and system requirements, and also it helps in defining the overall system architecture. This is done based on the input from your previous phase, that is your requirement analysis phase. Next is your coding phase, which is the most important one in any model, where your requirements and design, after your requirements and design phase, the output of design is then converted into a code. So here you write your programs, which is called as units, which is tested immediately. These unit tested components are integrated to form your whole system one by one. That is called implementation phase. And last is testing or verification phase, where your entire system will be tested for faults and failures. It is both functional and non-functional testings are done here, where then after that, if your testing gives you a very good results, then you move on to your deployment of your software. What is deployment? So implementing your software or setting up your software in the customer site. Right. Next we will see the advantages. So you might think that we cannot traverse back to your previous phase. How this model could be advantage? It is so advantageous because it is very simple and easy to understand and use. And it is easy to manage due to rigidity of the model. Since it is rigid, you cannot traverse back. So you will be very cautious while completing your phase. Or else how will be a little lethargic if we could traverse back. Okay. And next is in this model, phase are processed and completed one at a time. There is no overlap. So at a time you do only one phase. So there will not be any confusions or overlappings. So it is a model which is best suited for smaller projects where requirements are very clear and you could understand at the starting itself. Right, disadvantages. So once an application is in testing stage, it is very difficult to go back and change something that was not well in the concept stage. So it is very difficult to go back to your previous stage. If you cannot go, so no working software is produced until the final end of your life cycle. There are high amounts of risk and uncertainty because you don't have any product in between. You cannot check whether it is right or not, all those things. So it is not a good model in case of a complex and object-oriented projects where there might be missing requirements, inconsistencies can arise. So it is also a poor model for long and ongoing projects where you cannot predict your requirements, and it is not suitable for projects where requirements are at a moderate to high risk of changing. If the requirements are quite changing, you cannot use this model at all. You could use this model only for a simple projects and also for projects where your requirements are very clear. Okay. Where you use this model, that is very important one. So this model is used only when the requirements are very well known, clear and fixed. Product definition is stable. Only everything is fixed at the starting itself. You can go for this, and that too the model should be simple. Technology is clearly understood. There is no ambiguous requirements. There are ample resources with required expertise are available freely. So because there is no overlapping, so you should do it one by one only. This project is, if the project is very short or small projects, could use this waterfall model. So this is about waterfall model. Waterfall is nothing but falling from a higher altitude, lower altitude, where water cannot go back to the higher altitude. Similarly, when you complete a phase and move on to your next phase of your software development, you cannot traverse back to your previous phase. That is the concept of waterfall model. So waterfall model will be used when your requirements are clearly understood, you don't have any ambiguity, and it is simple one and easy to understand. I think you are very clear about waterfall model. We will see about the other SDLC models in the coming lecture. Thank you all. Have a nice day.